Good morning. I am Steve Weber. Welcome to the American Gumption Morning Show. Today is Tuesday, June 15th, and it's show number 188. We're sneaking up on 200. So we're not going to make it to 200 by the end of the year or by the end of June, which is the end of the halfway of the year. But that's okay. We're going to only be one or two shows short of it, and we'll basically be right on schedule. So anyway, welcome to today's show. It's going to be an abbreviated show. I'm going to have Brandon Schaefer come up and join us for simple motivation in just a couple of minutes. And then I'm just going to do a monologue. And the monologue is titled Bench Skits. Bench Skits. I am in the process of redoing my Speaking Gump website, and that is the original website. And one of the ideas from the very, very beginning was really the Bench Skits. And I feel like, it's really like after many, many years, it's kind of finally come into crystal clear focus on how the Bench Skits are to be properly used. And so anyway, I'm just going to talk specifically about Bench Skits. We're not going to talk about Gumption or the keynotes or any of that. We're just going to this is strictly going to be on the Bench Skit. So anyway, that's going to come up, and then I'm going to get out of here. So it's going to be a short show, maybe only 20 or 25 minutes maximum. All righty. So let me tell you what is going to happen the rest of this week. I have 3 more shows scheduled: Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I got to start on the right day for doing this. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So on Wednesday, Nikki Roscoe returns once again. She's got her brand new book, and I have a copy of it right here, My Crystal Guide. And so we're going to talk about this wonderful book and, the color pictures of all the different crystals. It's written for both, young people and for old people. And it's basically a Crystal 101 guide. So anyway, Nikki will join us tomorrow. That's going to be a fun show. I might not even do a monologue just because she's got so much information. So we'll figure that out. Then on Thursday, a young lady that I just met recently, Kiva Dag, is going to join us. And she is going to talk about elemental medicine. Elemental. Now, not like elementary, but elemental. What are the elements? The 4 elements are earth, air, fire, and water. And basically, these elements exist in all of us, and she's going to talk about those elements and the healing properties of them. So that'll be on Thursday. And then on Friday, Darlene Andy is going to join us she is part of our northern neighbors from Canada, and she is a freedom fighter. And this last year has been tough on the United States, but it's been tough on other countries. And there are people like Darlene who are essentially, fighting for the freedom. She says she carries around a Canadian Constitution in her pocket, and she's done a lot of research. So we'll have a conversation about what an individual is doing to, make sure that all of our freedoms are protected and remain with us for as long as we are around here on this earth. So anyway, that's going to be on Friday. So tomorrow, Nikki Roscoe. Thursday, Kiva Dag, and then on Friday, Darlene Andy. So good shows coming up the next couple of days. All righty. Well, because today is Tuesday, we like to bring in our friend Brandon Schaefer. Hello, Brandon Schaefer. Welcome to Tuesday, June 15th. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Steve. What about you, man? How's life going?
Really good. Really good. I'm going to do just a monologue segment again today on Bench Skits. And it's really quite, this has been like a project that's been in the works for 20 plus years. And I finally feel like it's really come together in terms of like, I can just simply explain it. So today's going to be my first shot at doing that. So I'm excited.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful. I'll have to hang around and listen. I'll be sure to watch it on YouTube once I jump off the line here.
What are you bringing with us today? What are you thinking about?
Oh man, I am tuned up and ready to go today. And what I'm thinking about, as usual, is just, grasping hold of the day, getting after it, going to get it. Going after the day and not letting the day come to me. I know that I have, my mom, my dad, brother, sister, aunt, uncles, everybody, right? Ultimately, I need to be responsible for myself though, right? No one's going to knock on my door with a Bitcoin or a gold bar saying, Brandon, you're so incredible. Here it is. Here's your handout. There's no handouts here, man. When you're reaching for success, there's only one way to go get it. And it's just like you're doing, Steve, is, going to do it, setting your day up for success. There are no shortcuts. Every time I've taken a shortcut, I've had to circle back around and redo the work, repay for it, anything else like that. So today, I just go after the day like it's my last day. I go after the day and look to be a good person, look to keep all my interactions positive, and to be patient, to look at things from other people's point of view. But most importantly is taking action in my own life to have a better outcome. It's like the oxygen mask that pop down in the airplane when you have young kids. You put yours on first so you can save them, and you got to take care of yourself before you can go out and help other people as well. So that's what I'm focusing on today. I'll just end with this: grasp hold of the day, get after it, and go get it.
All righty. Well, hey, thanks. Hey, you on LinkedIn, you post at least a couple times a day, and you always have these positive messages. And so I really appreciate that you're, you are staying upbeat. You mentioned it. You said, you stay positive. How do you, keep that positivity going, day after day after day? Because that's, that's hard for lots of people. And so I really appreciate what you're doing because it encourages me day in and day out.
Yeah. And if I post a lot, and basically when I wake up in the morning every day, there's a few things that I do here. And I just write a quick note to myself. I just have a 3x5 card or these, cards, and I'll just write down what comes to my mind first. It's one of the first things I do when I actually go downstairs, is I get a pen, pencil, whatever, and I just write down the first thought that comes to my mind. And I don't say it's like, I don't call it journaling or anything else like that, but I just call it like just putting down an affirmation for myself of the way that I'm feeling. And today's was actually grasp hold of the day. And obviously before I got on here, I added get after it and go get it, right? But grasp hold of the day, because I came downstairs and I'm thinking, what can I do today to make a difference? And that's what I wrote, just grasp hold of the day, just go out and make a difference. So there's a lot of things. There's breathing exercises. I think a lot of the stuff that is in the setup for me is in doing positive actions. When I do good, I feel good. Yeah, in every situation. If I'm doing something negative, it's going to drag me down. So I just tend not to get involved in that. And I think the last piece is just the patience. Having patience and being understanding, I think, is really core values of success. Outside of busting your hump and doing something for 20 years, like you've been. To have it all come to a culmination. Oh, you got it. You got it written down too.
I have these little notes here too, and it reminded me of an intention. What you're doing is you're just setting an intention for each day, and I love how you say it's like it's not like you're thinking of it so much as like you just sort of get that morning inspiration, and you let the quantum field source energy just sort of decide and help you. What is the intention for the day? And then you kind of remind yourself of that all throughout the day. I love that.
Yeah. And you have great guests on here too, because the guests that you speak of are talking about doing a lot of things organically, which is naturally, which is natural, like it's a natural progression. Whereas a lot of people will tell you to do something that's so outlandish that you're not going to be able to keep up with, or something else like that. Like buy this, $500 a month thing, and you're going to be the next superstar. And in reality, the chances of that happening are very, very slim. The chances of you getting up and tying your shoes and putting your underwear and then your pants and a shirt on and going to the grocery store are very high. If you can add one other thing that's going to be a positive, perhaps smile at somebody as you're walking into the store. That might be the only smile that they get. It's these little personal interactions which raise your spirit, which raise your juice, right? Versus somebody else that doesn't. And when you fill somebody else's bucket, it fills you have to kind of empty your bucket, fill somebody else's bucket, and then in turn, your bucket's getting filled back up. So
hey,
that's a story for another day, though.
I appreciate you coming here on Tuesday mornings and helping to fill the bucket.
Dude, I love it.
Are
you kidding me? This is exactly how I stay positive, by committing to actually do something for a friend and then showing up and talking about it. Now I'm a better person the rest of the day today as well. So,
all righty, man. Hey, well, thanks. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, cool, Steve. I'll talk to you.
Okay, bye. Alrighty, there was Brandon Schaefer, Simple Business Help, and there's his business right down below, scrolling across here, simplebusinesshelp.com. And Brandon and his team, they basically help you get yourself focused and stay intentional throughout your day. And the specific area that they like to help people with is in technology, and specifically, things about sales and marketing and communications, and then also just making sure that your technologies connect to each other. So if you have any challenges with your tech, Brandon and his team, simplebusinesshelp.com, they can help you out. All righty. Well, there we go. That's that. So let's go ahead and shift gears. Let's go ahead and jump into this monologue. And again, I'm calling it Bench Gumption. Yeah, Bench Skits. That's what I'm calling it, Bench Skits. I got gumption on my mind, man. I got a lot of gumption stuff happening. All righty, well, let's go ahead and roll into it and see what I'm thinking about here today. So the idea of the bench skit started a long time ago for me. Let's see, I'm just getting myself organized here. All right, I think there we go. So what happened was, back in 1998, I first sat on the bench with a corporate leader, and basically what happened was they wanted to do a change message. It was coming up on their holiday party, and everybody was going to get together. It was going to be a social event and a fun thing, but they felt like they wanted to also deliver a message. And as the year had come to an end, they realized that the next year needed to have some pretty important structural changes to the organization. And so anyway, they invited me to come. They knew about, I had been working with them on a different level, not on a Gump level, but they knew about the Gump thing that had been going on for a couple of years. And they felt like, hey, wouldn't it be fun if you came to the party and we sat on the bench and we basically had a dialogue, and the CEO had his very specific message that he wanted to deliver, but he wanted to do it in a unique way. And so I ended up writing a skit that included all of the things that he needed to say, let him talk, but also I did the famous Gump lines and the Gumpisms. And what happened was, it was a humorous, fun thing, and it was memorable. And for years and years, people talked about it, when they said, oh, wasn't that a great party? And, this message of change went on. So anyway, that's when it first started. Now, at the time, I was still working for Bubba Gump on a regular basis. In fact, I was really only at the beginning. I was only in year 2 with them. And so I hadn't even decided to be a speaker at that point, but the seed for the Gump skit idea was planted. And so anyway, fast forward about 15 years or 10 years at least, and I started thinking about, well, what are the challenges that organizations have? And basically, number one is they don't like change, and they don't understand the change. And it's not so much that they don't dislike change. Let me go ahead and just let me just keep this screen going the way it is. It's not that they don't like change. They don't like change when they don't understand what the change is all about. And so what David, the CEO of the organization, did brilliantly was he basically set himself up to sit there in a fun way and explain to Forrest Gump. But really what he was doing is explaining to all of his employees what these changes are that needed to take place. And he provided a lot of information. So in other words, he really gave people like the why to these changes were being necessary. Because if people just like start noticing changes and they don't understand the why and they don't understand what's going on, then they they talk about it and, they mumble and groan and complain and that sort of thing. So I also came to realize that great plans will fail because of how they're presented. And usually what happens is organizations spend a whole lot of time developing a plan, but then they spend very little time thinking about how they're going to explain the plan. And they just sort of, blurt it out somehow or another. They send out a memo or a corporate edict. You're going to do this now. And those things are met with hostility. So that is the challenges for the organization. That people don't like change. They don't understand the change. Information needs to be provided that often isn't provided, and then great plans fail because, or a potentially great plan fails because it's of how it's presented, and these edicts from above come down, and people go, I don't think so. I'm not buying into it. All righty. So anyway, I started doing these skits, different places, different events, at the same time that I was really developing the message of Gumption. So this is like 15 years ago, 10 years ago, where it really came into, but that seed was planted like a decade earlier of like, gee, what a fun way to, give a message to a corporation. All righty. So how does it work? First of all, somebody decides that they need to create change. And typically an organization will decide this before I get involved, and I don't necessarily work with organizations in deciding what it is that they want to change, but they come up with a change initiative. So that's the very first step. And then at that point, I can get involved and help develop what we call a rollout plan. So basically, how are you going to communicate it? How are you going to tell people what's going to, what is the change initiative? But you want to do it in a way that you've thought about it and you present all the information kind of it up front, maybe not all of it, but enough of the information up front so that people get a pretty good idea of understanding what it's going to be all about. But most importantly, they need to understand that why. And so what information gets determined, and you want to make a plan. How much do you want to tell them that very first day? You certainly want to tell them enough so that they understand it. So there you go. And then the script gets created, and that's where I get to do my little magical thing where I use their ideas, their concept. They've provided all the information. And then really what happens is it's like their information kind of gets an overlay of Gump scripting put on top of it. And so it becomes kind of this fun, entertaining, lighthearted, yet meaty because it has real information involved in it. And then of course an event gets scheduled, and a lot of times the event is actually scheduled like even before I get involved, and so there's a deadline, but at some point the event needs to be determined, and then the script gets practiced and fine-tuned, and and oftentimes it could be a single person who's sitting on the bench with Gump, or it could be a parade of people. It could have, 2 or 3 different people, and each person from the organization presents like a slightly different plan. And again, it's not like the whole full-blown details of the entire everything, but it's kind of that high level overview, so that in a short time, maybe 30 to 60 minutes max, you're basically presenting what things are, and so you create this memorable experience for people. All right, and so the change initiative rollout occurs at the event. So that's kind of the timeline on what I'm talking about and how I'm working with the different people. All righty. So then again, we have these conversations. We have this thing, and it's kind of the idea is it's humorous. It's fun. It's a positive experience. So people have, the results are people get to hear the plan. They get to see the entire big picture in one sitting, and they get like, oh, this is the overview. So that's the very first thing that happens. They're entertained. It's not like some stuffy corporate meeting that you're getting fact after fact after fact, but rather it's more like a production value and entertainment. It's like they're watching the show. And anytime that you present information with humor, it creates a feeling, an emotional connection is made, and people end up feeling good about it. Then that's really the goal. You want people to feel good about this change initiative right from the get-go. And you want leave people with a feeling of I want to hear more about this. I want to learn more about how this is all going to work. So rather than like them saying, I don't think I like this change, they're like, oh, you know what? This is good stuff. This is our future. This is important that we all get together and do it. And so, and when they do hear more, that original feeling, the Gump presentation, the part where the leaders of the organization were genuine and authentic and sharing, not only from the head, but from the heart in terms of why this is all important, then it becomes that feeling as they go about learning more about it and getting more details. They have that feeling of excitement and benefit for all involved. So that's really what I just wanted to share today. It was kind of a high level view of this whole thing. This was a fun skit that I did with a fellow entertainer, and it was just kind of that fun thing. And you could see him really playing the acting role, and Gump there, being a sage or a wisdom carrier, where he was playing the role of, gee, I don't know what to do. How am I going to explain to my team what needs to happen? And Gump, without really thinking about it, just would like come up with like crazy ideas, and he go, oh, that's a great idea, and then they share a little, talk about it a little more. So it becomes playful, it becomes fun. So that's really all I wanted to share with you this morning. As I'm redoing the Speaking Gump website, I realized it's important for me to to really define this script in a way, and this bench skit in a way that I have not, that I've failed to do so in the past. I've hinted at it in a lot of different ways, but to actually bring it front and center and to begin to share it. So today's monologue was really just an attempt to, create some kind of a communication that maybe I can use on my website, or at least I can take the next version of this presentation and share it with it. So thanks for listening today. A little bit self-serving with the monologue today, but hey, it's the American Gumption Morning Show, and I'm the host, so I get to decide what I want to do day in and day out. So we do have Stacy joining in with us this morning. Thank you, Stacy. Not sure where you're coming from, but we're glad that you're here listening in. And Brandon Schaefer comes back and says, great job, Steve. Thanks, Brandon. Appreciate you being part of this on a day in or a week in and week out basis. He's been here since last September. He joined, and he hasn't been here every week, but pretty much darn near every week. So he's like clockwork. We can set our clocks for Tuesday, and Brandon, in his simple motivation and simple business help, shows up. So anyway, that's all I wanted to share this morning. Have a great rest of your day. Before I leave, let me quickly remind you about what's going to happen tomorrow. Nikki Roscoe joining us with her book, I've got a copy of it right here, My Crystal Guide. We're going to talk about that. And then on Thursday, Kiva Dag. Kiva Dag. That is a name that I never will tell you about who Kiva Dag is. She is going to join us on Thursday morning, and she has her elemental medicine. So the elements, earth, air, fire, water, earth, air, fire, water, and how those elements can heal us and make us healthier. And they're free. We have all those. We have all the ingredients within us, and she's going to explain that. And then on Friday, Darlene Ondi joins us from British Columbia, and she is a freedom fighter, and she is making sure that Canadian sovereign rights are upheld. And last year has been disruptive for many people around the world. And so she'll check in from north of the border and tell us what people like her are doing to make sure that Canadians can enjoy the freedoms that they've enjoyed for many years, and will hopefully continue to enjoy. All righty, so that's it. Have a great day, everybody. I'll see you all tomorrow.